Good morning, Mizzou fans. Gabe DeArmond here, PM in the AM on Monday, July 21st. The last time we did this, Dennis Gates did not have a top five player in the country committed to his basketball program. Now he does. If you somehow have been living under a rock for the last, 64 hours or so, Jason Crowe Jr., the number five player in the country, a combo guard out of Inglewood, California, committed to Missouri on Friday afternoon at Peach Jam. We were there. We have all kinds of content and stories from the Crow commitment over the weekend at powermizzou.com. Hopefully, you have read all of those. But that really made me think about a larger point for this morning's quick hit. And that is, when I say Missouri, do you think football or basketball first? And whatever your answer to that question is, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I'm not trying to argue with anyone on it, but that is my larger point. Most schools, when I mention, that school, Alabama, Kansas, Indiana, UCLA, Texas, whatever it might be, immediately one sport comes to your mind. Whether it's a football school or a basketball school, you immediately have a thought. When I say Georgia, you're thinking football. When I say Syracuse, you're thinking basketball. That's true for 99% of people, I think. And it's really true for like 98% of schools. One thing that I think makes Missouri unique is that I'm not sure which one of those you immediately identify with. I think partly it depends on your age. If you are my age, if you're, in your 40s or above, up to the age of 65, I think you will view Missouri more as a basketball school because you grew up with Norm Stewart and Steeple and Sunvold and Peeler and Smith and Chivas and all of that. If you are probably under the age of 40, 35 certainly, you grew up with Brad Smith and Chase Daniel and Jeremy Macklin and Sean Weatherspoon, and you probably primarily view Missouri as a football school. If you are over the age of 65, probably the same because you were around in the 1960s when Missouri was really good at football and not very good at basketball. So certainly a lot of this has to do with what's better, right? But even so, Texas A&M football can be bad and Texas A&M basketball can be good, and that is still a football school. There are not very many schools, I think, in the country where there is a debate. I think there used to maybe be one about Michigan State, but I think now most people would view Michigan State as a basketball school. Wisconsin, I think there were times you could make the argument about both, but I think at heart, people view Wisconsin as a football school. I'm not sure how many programs there are out there that you would say there is a legitimate debate. And I want to be clear, this is not an insult or taking anything away from Missouri football, especially in the last 20 years. There has been a huge fan base for this program, and this program has done very good things. It certainly in the last 20 years has been much more successful than the basketball program. So this is in no way a slight to Missouri football. What it more is a statement, and this was driven home to me in the last week when I was down at Peach Jam in the lead up to Jason Crowe's commitment. What it more is a statement of the passion there still is among the Missouri basketball fan base. It is no secret there have been more valleys than peaks over the last 20 years for Missouri basketball. A lot of negative headlines, not a whole lot of positive headlines. Not very many deep runs. One NCAA tournament win in the last 15 years. We all know about it, right? But the passion, the traffic, the excitement we saw for Missouri basketball over the last few days leading up to and since Jason Crowe's commitment tells me that it's still there. This is still a program that fans are just begging to be good. Like, you saw Dennis Gates' first season. You saw at the Kansas game last year, following the Alabama game. And don't get me wrong, I understand when teams are good, people care more. But there is more of a passion here for basketball than there is at most schools in this league, which again goes back to how has Missouri not been better at this sport in this conference? And that's what I think a lot of people certainly are hoping is on the horizon, not just with Jason Crowe's commitment, but with some of the uptick over the last couple of years, last 3 years, not so much 2 years ago. Some of the uptick in recruiting, all of that. There is a starvation for Missouri basketball to be good again. And again, I don't want any of this to come off as slighting Missouri football. That is not it. Eli Drinkwitz has done great things. Football pays the bills. I think at heart, when Missouri is good at it, Missouri wants to be a football school. That's what I think this fan base has shown over the last 20 years. But there is more of a desire, more of a passion, more appetite for basketball at Missouri than I think there is a lot of places in 2025. So I don't know what your answer is. Feel free to let us know in the comments, on the message board, whatever. Like, comment, share, and subscribe while you are here. Appreciate you hanging out. No live show tonight. We're rescheduling till Tuesday because I have a 24th wedding anniversary to do tonight rather than a live show on YouTube. My wife might rather I hang out on YouTube, but instead I'm going to go to dinner with her. So I will talk to the rest of you all tomorrow morning, and then we will do State of the Tigers on Tuesday night this week. We'll see you then.